If you're wondering how Moms Make It Magical got started and a little bit about who I am, then you are in the right place. So let me introduce myself. My name is Susan. I am the creator of Moms Make It Magical. I am a mom of 3 kids, and they all kind of have different sensory needs. And we live in the Midwest currently, so we are not local to either US Disney Park, but we do love traveling and especially going to Disney World. I want to fully disclose that I am not a travel agent, so I am not here to convince you to go to Disney World ASAP so that I can get a commission out of it or whatever. I am simply a mom and I'm a former social worker. I just want to support and encourage other moms if you're thinking of going to Disney or trying to travel with your kids, even if they are a little bit more sensitively wired. In terms of why I started this channel, our first trip to Disney World with kids was in 2018. And as a mom of highly sensitive kids, I definitely did a lot of research. I was a little bit nervous about it, and I realized there wasn't much info out there for families like ours, especially with those with sensory sensitivities. So I decided to start a blog as a place to start kind of creating an inventory of sensory reviews and ratings of Disney World attractions. And basically, I was trying to create something that would have helped me for my first trip with my kids. I'm definitely a bit type A, so I thought I was being meticulous about planning everything, but I still made a lot of mistakes. So in terms of mistakes and kind of hard things that we encountered, I think the one thing that comes to mind is the crowds. It was definitely crowded during our first visit there. We actually planned our trip for the week leading up to Christmas, and so while it isn't as bad as the week between Christmas and New Year's, it progressively got worse, and so it did get a little bit overwhelming for all of us. Another major mistake I made was over planning. So that was probably the type A side of me, and I think I really thought that this trip was going to be sort of our one and only trip to Disney World, and so I was trying to really pack in a lot of things, and that made it more stressful. So one example for that is I did way too many dining reservations, and that was just not a great fit for us. So I ended up canceling a lot of them. And so it's easy to get into that mode of over planning, especially if you feel like you're going to miss out on things, and it makes the whole experience way more stressful. Another hard thing for us, not necessarily a mistake, but a hard thing was the fireworks at Disney. My oldest at the time was very scared of fireworks. We already knew that from being at home and dealing with 4th of July. We lived near a park that had a massive fireworks celebration every summer, and that night was always really hard for us. So she was 4 years old at the time, and she had a really hard time with fireworks. So we already knew that fireworks was not going to be on the table for us, but that's another thing just to be mindful of. That Disney World is very loud, and fireworks is one source of noise, and it's not even just at night. If you think about Magic Kingdom, there are fireworks shot off multiple times throughout the day. So that was a little bit hard, and it was really important for us to be prepared with noise canceling headphones. Another kind of hard thing for us was also character interactions. I think sometimes for highly sensitive kids, they're not sure how to interact. They might feel a little bit shy or awkward. They might not be sure what to do or what to say. And so I think there's a little bit of an expectation as parents that you want to have that cute picture with Mickey or that amazing interaction with their favorite princess. But I think a lot of it is just kind of letting it go and kind of seeing what your child wants to do and going with the flow. Another kind of hard thing for us was some of the dark rides. It's hard to know exactly how the environment is going to be on a certain attraction from just YouTube videos alone, and so I think we were surprised by some of them, about how dark some of them were, and the difficulty with that. So despite some of the challenges that I just discussed about, we still fell in love with Disney's immersive nature. I think especially for me, I just loved it. And so I enjoyed watching how like Disney was able to bring out everyone's like inner child. And because of that, from that first trip, even through the hard things, after that trip, we actually became Disney Vacation Club members, which is Disney's timeshare program. So now we are lucky enough to return about once a year, despite not being local to Orlando or being annual pass holders. Over the years, I've noticed what works for our family. I've noticed what the kids love, what overwhelms them, what triggers meltdowns, and kind of how that ebbs and flows as they get older. And I've used that knowledge for my blog and hopefully for more videos here on YouTube. And the more I've learned about neurodiversity and high sensitivity, the more I've realized that our family is not really neurotypical. This understanding really does shape everything that I share here. So these are real experiences from our family dealing with sensory challenges, dysregulation, meltdowns, all of that stuff. So the most important parts of my perspective that I want you to know about is that I am not local to Orlando and I am not an annual pass holder. People who are local or who have APs might offer a little bit of a different perspective or insights because they're able to go so often. My tips are probably tailored more towards families who might have to travel a considerable distance to Disney World or are not planning to go very often. I am a Disney Vacation Club member, as I mentioned before, which does help us return somewhat regularly, and so it does take the pressure off a little bit for us. But I do feel like my perspective is probably a little bit different than the locals or the annual pass holders. And I'm definitely here to share my knowledge from a strengths-based and empathetic perspective. So basically, my Disney obsession and my desire to support my sensitive kids in even the most overwhelming environments is the catalyst to start my blog and this channel. And I don't have all the answers. No one does. And no vacation is really one size fits all. But I still believe that we as moms can make our vacations magical, whether it's to Disney or to a national park or to an urban city with museums and restaurants and all of that. I think we can still make our vacations magical with our kids and better manage the sensory overload and meltdowns. So if any of that resonates, I hope you stick around. I hope you subscribe. Please like this video. I am new to this, so please have grace for me as I continue down this path, but hopefully stick around. I appreciate your support.